Today I come in the defense of my boy Yamcha. I think for years and years he has been mistreated and has not been given the respect that he deserves. I just started watching Kai and this entire scene really changed my perspective on Yamcha. Before we start, I'm going to read you a verse from the New Testament for Gen Z Bible. John 15:12 says, "This is my rule, love each other just like I've loved you." No doubt, that's real love. Ain't no greater love than when someone lays down their life for their homies. As you guys remember, the first ones to show up at the scene where the Saiyans are Krillin, Gohan, and Piccolo. And once they show up, the Saiyans break out the Cybermen. So they start fighting and you kind of start seeing that the Earthlings are actually struggling with these dudes. But then backup shows up and this is where we see Yamcha, Tien, Chaozu. That's it. Now instead of having an all-out fight, our short king Vegeta decides to instill a tournament. And in this case, they're going to be fighting the Cybermen one by one. Tien goes first and he destroys the first Cyberman. Now for the next round, Krillin was actually going to step up and fight the next Cyberman. But here is when Yamcha shows up. In here, Yamcha tells Krillin to sit back and let him fight because he has already been revived by the Dragon Balls. So it turns out that in Dragon Ball, there's a scene where they're having dinner and then Krillin decides to go off on his own. Next thing we know, Goku is feeling uneasy. He ends up running towards Krillin and it turns out that our boy Krillin has been killed. Now Krillin obviously didn't stay dead because he is here fighting with the Saiyans, which means that he was revived by the Dragon Balls. And to be honest, the actual fight between Yamcha and the Cybermen was short but also impressive. While they're fighting, Yamcha dodges the Cyberman, ends up being on top of him, and then throws a Kamehameha and finishes the dude off. And this is where the scene that everybody knows happens. Yamcha lets down his guard, the Cyberman goes behind him and ends up self-destructing. And this is when we see our boy on the floor dead. Now to be honest, still today, I know that we all make fun of Yamcha, but I don't think that the actual intent was for him to look pitiful. I think it has to do with the way they placed him on the ground in like that somewhat fetal position. But like, I think that the intent of the author and in this fight was to show that Yamcha had actually improved. Not only that, but he was honorable enough to put his life on the line so that his friend may survive. And this is where we go back to the Bible, where Jesus is encouraging his disciples to love each other, meaning take care of each other, look after one another. And this is actually what Yamcha was doing here. He was looking after his boy Krillin because if Krillin died, he wouldn't be able to come back. While on the other hand, if Yamcha did die, which he did, he would be able to be revived. And the last thing that I will say is that according to the Bible, Yamcha was a good friend. Because as the Bible says, there is no greater love than this, for a man to give up his life for his friends. Alright guys, this is all that I had for you today. Let me know what you think in the comments. Was this something that you had forgotten about like I had? And as always, I just want to remind you that we must persevere. Peace.